Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for a brand new type of video today. This time we're going to be ranking the movies of a franchise, and I thought we could kick off this new series of videos by starting with my favourite franchise of all time, which is Star Wars. So this will include all 12 of the movies. Yeah, you heard 12, because as said to our title, I'm including the Clone Wars movie. So, without further ado, let's begin the rankings. So starting with my all-time favourite Star Wars movie in the series, so we're going to start with Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And I give that 10 out of 10. What I love about Return of the Jedi is, I did a video explaining my top 2 reasons why it's my favourite, but, top 10 reasons. And, so, the reason why it's my favourite is because I like the way it ended this franchise. It had the greatest conclusion ever. And, every action sequence was phenomenal, and also the way they redeemed Darth Vader and brought back Anakin Skywalker was amazing. Yeah, everything really was so amazing. If you want to check out why I think it's my favourite, go check out the top 10 reasons video. That was in summary. My second favourite would be The Empire Strikes Back. And I like the version which was remastered in 2004 to be specific, because that includes, Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine and also Tamar Morrison as Boba Fett, to make it more consistent with viewer films. And this is my second favourite because every performance and action sequence and the music, especially introducing the Imperial March, was amazing. And the plot twist of I'm Your Father, that's probably the greatest plot twist ever in cinematic history, in my opinion. And with it introduced Yoda and Lando Calrissian, and also they gave a hint towards the Emperor. It was really amazing. And also where they developed Hannah and Leia with their romance was also great too. So yeah, and this is definitely, one of my all-time favourites, and I used to watch this a lot when I was a kid. I was obsessed with it. And I also give this a 10 out of 10. My third favourite would be A New Hope. I know a lot of people say this movie doesn't have, the same amount of action compared to other movies that has released amount of action, but I don't really care about that because this is such a beautiful movie for me. And as a fun fact, guys, this is actually the first Star Wars movie I ever watched when I was a kid. When I was 4 years old, actually. So this has a special place in my heart. And I loved, the performances, and the action as well was also really good. And the visuals were also very good, considering it was in 1977, wasn't it? It was very good. And the battles were also very good. My favourite, of course, being the Battle of Yavin. That was so epic and wicked cool, right? And the emotional weight was also great too. And we got introduced to so many, heroic characters, and also Darth Vader. His entrance was so spectacular in A New Hope. The way we executed it was perfection, and I really loved it. And I also give this movie a 10 out of 10. Now my fourth favourite would be Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And I gotta say, this is probably the darkest Star Wars movie I've ever seen, really. It was so amazing. And the best thing about it was definitely the performances by, people like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, Ian McDiarmid, Frank Oz, Samuel L. Jackson, and Christopher Lee as well. But this movie is special to me because it has my favourite lightsaber duel, which is Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan and Mustafar. That was so epic. 10 minutes of, amazing fighting choreography. It's pure action, and it was amazing. I also think this movie has probably the best Star Wars soundtrack ever, with things like Battle of the Heroes in it, and several of them, like Anakin's Betrayal, Anakin's Dark Deeds, and Battle over Coruscant. Really amazing. Now, I give this movie a 9 out of 10 because, unlike, the originals, I did have, a few problems with this one, such as, I know a lot of people criticise it overuse of CGI, which is true, because some of the characters, who were made out of CGI didn't look very good, did they, really? I also think Count Dooku deserved more screen time as well, compared to that scene he was in with Anakin vs. Obi-Wan. The fight scene was amazing, though, nonetheless, and Christopher Lee was always brilliant as Dooku, and may he rest in peace. But yeah, I think he deserved more screen time. So yeah. And another great thing about this movie was I love how it transitioned from Anakin to Darth Vader. That was so perfectly done. The way they did that, they nailed it. Now, my fifth favourite would be Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, released in 2016. Now, and the thing about this movie is, I really love this movie. I love how, I can be honest, yeah, it does have, problems, in my opinion, such as, I feel like the first act was a little bit boring and slow-paced, yes, but the final, let's say, the movie for me, really, performances, especially by, Felicity Jones as Jaina Erso, particularly, and I also liked the addition of Cassian Andor and Bodhi and also Chirrut and also K2SO. They like the entire team of Rogue One was amazing. And their chemistry was also brilliant too. And I also liked the way we brought back Grandma Tarkin using CGI. That was really well done in my opinion. And I'll be honest, guys, I only went to see this movie because of Darth Vader, and sure, he did deserve more screen time, because I think he's only in like about 2 scenes, but I gotta say, Vader's scenes were so breathtaking, and getting to hear the legendary James Earl Jones reprising his role was also really amazing, so yeah, I really loved it. I also like how Bail Organa appeared too, because that was a perfect connection to the prequels, and also the way it set up A New Hope too was also really well done. I loved it, and the action was also great. And I also kind of wish that there was an opening crawl as well, which was a bit disappointing because there wasn't an opening crawl, was there, sadly. But nonetheless, I give this movie a 9 out of 10. Now, my 6th favourite would be The Phantom Menace. What I liked about this was definitely the performances by, like Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, and Ian McDiarmid playing, a different persona to what he's played before, which was Senator later Chancellor Palpatine. He was really good at doing that. And I also liked Ray Park and Peter Serafinowicz as Darth Maul as well in particular. And I think the visuals were slightly improved compared to the original because it was later in the years with better technology to make the visuals. But I did love the duel between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul. That was amazing. Like, really fantastic choreography. So fantastic. And then the music was also great, introducing, Duel of Fate. It's one of the best Star Wars soundtracks ever. I really loved it. The problems I had with this was probably, like, I think characters like, Maul and also C-3PO deserve more screen time. I didn't really like the Yoda puppet either. It didn't really look as good as it did in the originals, really. So that's why I prefer the new release where he's a CGI version and not, like, that puppet. I think that was much better. I also wasn't really a fan of, Jake Law's performance. I have, like, mixed opinions on his performance, but he was okay, young Anakin. With Jar Jar, I think he was funny at times, but sometimes a little bit annoying, but I'm fine with Jar Jar nonetheless. So yeah, I give this movie an 8 out of 10. My 7th favourite would be Attack of the Clones, released in 2002. Now, I gotta be honest, this is probably like my least favourite prequel, because I feel like what they did was they overused the romance thing. They overdid it a little bit, really. I kind of wish that the clones had more screen time too, because the title of the movie is Attack of the Clones, yet the clones are barely in the movie, because we only see them in the factory and later in the Battle of Geonosis, and that's it, which is a bit of a shame, isn't it? But the performances, I like the performances by Ewan McGregor. I think Obi-Wan was probably the best character in Attack of the Clones. I also like Natalie Portman as well, and also Frank Oz, and Samuel L. Jackson was also great. I like we got, much more presence as Mace Windu in this movie compared to The Phantom Menace. We also introduced Count Dooku, Sir Christopher Lee nailed it. And Tamar Morrison as Jango Fett was also another great addition to it, and also for clones as well. With Hayden Christensen, I thought he was okay in this movie. He did the best he could with the script he was given, but I think he nailed it in Revenge of the Sith. The visuals were also great, and the Battle of Geonosis was probably my favourite scene of the whole movie. So epic, I really loved it. And the music was very good too, such as, Anakin and Padme's love theme was also very nice too. So yeah, I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. Now, so my next favourite would be Solo, a Star Wars story, released in 2018. Now, I gotta be honest, I was worried this movie would be bad after seeing The Last Jedi, because of the whole, Star Wars fatigue, in a way. But I gotta be honest, I actually really enjoyed this when I saw it at the cinema. It's probably my second favourite Disney Star Wars movie after Rogue One. So, now, what did I like about this movie? Well, obviously, my favourite scene in this movie, it was definitely Darth Maul's cameo. Like, I actually freaked out when I saw Darth Maul. It was pretty amazing. And it was proof that they paid attention to the cartoons, with the way Maul was designed and stuff like that, really, and based on the timeline as well. It was great to see Maul in that moment. Also, though, the acting was also very good by other cast. Now, sure, Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover are nowhere near as good as Harrison Ford and Billy Dee Williams, but I think they did a great job of what they were given as Han and Lando, in my opinion. I also love the bonding between Han and Chewie as well. I mean, Chewie was great as always in this movie. We can't deny that, can we? And the visuals were also very good too, and the action was good too. And I also like the Kessel Run sequence was also very well done. But the downfall of this movie was probably, I I think the plot was a bit predictable, kind of like Rogue One was a bit. I kind of wish the antagonist Jordan Voss had more screen time, and the same could apply to Val, Tobias Beckett's, I think it's his wife. I also didn't like how they killed her off too. And I also really could not stand Lando's droid friend L3. She was so annoying, she got on my nerves. Like, if she was trying to be like C-3PO with her humour, she was failing badly. But yeah, nonetheless, I did enjoy this movie. Sure, it's not the best Star Wars movie, but it's definitely not the worst. So I give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. So after that, we go to The Force Awakens. Now, I don't consider it's one of my favourite Star Wars movies, but if you were to ask me which of the sequels is my favourite, this would be it. So what I like about this movie, I like the performances, especially by Harrison Ford as Han Solo coming back as him, because, you know, Han Solo was one of my favourite original characters, and I think Han and Chewie stole the show in this movie. They were definitely the best part of the movie. The visuals were also very good as well, and very dazzling, and the music that John Williams includes, such as, you know, Rey's theme and Kylo Ren's theme, was also very well composed. And the space battles were also pretty good too, very nostalgic of the original trilogy, such as on Starkiller Base, with the TIE Fighters and the X-Wings. And I also did like the chase on Jakku between the TIE Fighters and the Millennium Falcon. That was very well visualed, and the banter between, you know, Finn and Rey was pretty funny, I will admit that. I'll be honest, I did also like Kylo, but only when he's got the helmet on before he took it off in the interrogation scene. Because I thought he was pretty, you know, scary and feared. I also did like Rey's vision she has when she talks to Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. Because that was like a good way to set up, you know, questions, really. Like, I like this movie out of the sequels because it showed potential to be the start of a good trilogy. But unfortunately, it all went downhill in the following ones, didn't it, really? Especially because they made us think Finn was going to be a Jedi, but nope. They hyped us up and it was all for nothing because he didn't become a Jedi, did he? It was Rey. So problems with this, I did not like how he cut off Han Solo. I was very annoyed about that. I really did not like that. Now, I know that Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to die. Yes, that's true. But just because he wanted Han to die doesn't mean that it was the right thing to do. I also didn't like the lack of screen time for several originals, apart from Han and Chewie. Like, didn't like how they downplayed Leia, Luke, C-3PO, R2, and also Admiral Akbar too. I also did not like how Rey learned the Force with no training, which of course spawned the whole Mary Sue thing, which is what I consider her to this day. I did not like how the plot was pretty much exactly the same as A New Hope, like A New Hope 2.0 basically. And the whole idea of, you know, Starkiller Base being a snowy planet was just like half, wasn't it? I also did not like Paul Dameron and BB-8 and Phasma and Hux. I think they were pretty pointless characters. BB-8 was like a rip-off of R2-D2. And Paul should have died after when the TIE Fighter crashed on Jakku, because when he came out later, he had no purpose at all. And Phasma was like just for like action figure purposes, wasn't she? I did not like how they completely wasted Luke, because he only has 30 seconds of screen time in this movie, which I was very annoyed about. And they also didn't explain how Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber was found, because it fell, of course, down Cloud City, didn't it? So yeah, all in all, though, I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10. Now, after that, we go to The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I did a review on this back when it came out, and I gave it a 6 out of 10 like in Force Awakens, but after, you know, seeing clips of it, I give it a 5 out of 10. Now, what I like about this movie, I like the visuals once again, yes, and the music was also very good, and the action scenes were okay for what they were. I did also like the performances by the actors, what they were given, and I also mentioned that I did also like how C-3PO had more screen time, you know, thank goodness, because he's an amazing character. And I also love the return of Lando Calrissian as well, played by the great Billy D. Williams. And even though I hated the way they developed Palpatine in this movie, I think Ian McDiarmid once again nailed it as him. Like, no one plays Palpatine better than Ian McDiarmid. So yeah. Now, and also my favourite scene in the movie was definitely the young Luke and Leia scene. Now, on to the bad things about this movie. Like, I didn't like the writing and the development of the characters, the lack of screen time for R2, Leia, Luke, Lando, I know even Sidious too. They didn't explain how Sidious was alive, which really annoyed me. They didn't explain what Lando was up to before Episode 9, and they wasted the Knights of Ren too. So yeah, I could rant about Rise of Skywalker all day, but I'm not going to. So I give this movie a 5 out of 10. That's like me being generous. And now, here we go. Now we get on to the worst Star Wars movie ever, in my opinion, which is, you probably guessed it, The Last Jedi. Like, this is filled with so much trash. It's a train wreck. It's so bad. Like, they once again mistreated the original characters, and, you know, And poor choreography as well was pretty bad, you know, particularly when Luke was you know, dueling against Kylo Ren. Like, that was no duel, it was, they cheated us out to think we were going to get an amazing final duel between Master and Apprentice, but no, it was dodging, and that was it. I also really hated, you know, Horde and Rose too. They were so annoying, and the subplot of Council Bite was absolutely pointless. Didn't like how they cut Tom Hardy's cameo as a Stormtrooper. And didn't like how they killed off Luke and Admiral Akbar. I was very annoyed about that. And Luke's treatment as a whole was absolutely horrible. I hated it. And the way they characterised Snoke was terrible as well. They killed him off when he had potential to be the antagonist of this whole trilogy. And also the way they wasted Phasma too. Now, because of the visuals and, you know, the music, and the fact that Finn was willing to sacrifice, which made him my favourite character out of the trinity of, you know, the sequel characters, and also the Yoda scene, I give this movie a 4 out of 10. That's me being generous. Now, you probably wouldn't want to put the Clone Wars movie in this, despite not being part of the live-action films. I put it in between Attack of the Clones and Solo, because now, sure, it's not a best Star Wars movie, but I really appreciate it because it has, you know, it sets up the best Star Wars cartoon ever, really. And I also love it as well because it had Samuel L. Jackson and Christopher Lee coming back as Mace Windu and Count Dooku, and sadly, guys, it was Christopher Lee's final appearance as Dooku. So yeah, I was really sad about that. So yeah, guys, I'd also give this movie probably, I'd give it a 6 out of 10 as well, like I did to The Force Awakens. So yeah, because I really enjoyed the movie. I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. I loved it. So guys, this is me doing my ranking of the Star Wars films. So yeah, you know, a drill, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let us know in the comments how you would rank these movies. I'd love to hear how you'd rank them. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos coming in the future. And I will see you all later.